Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a pleasure having you on another episode of the Whiteblood Panorama on your favorite channel, Whiteblood Multimedia. I'm your host, Umar Isa Dandago. Well, people like my guest today are not very common in every single nook and cranny of our society, because apart from his mother tongue, Hausa, he can also speak Arabic and English impeccably, plus a bit of French, which I believe is way better than mine, of course. That means he is a multilingual. Malam Ƙaribullah Yusuf Nasidi has been teaching the English language for an extended period of time. Former principal of Comfort Modern College here in Kano, Malam Ƙaribullah believes that one can learn to speak more than 2 languages fantastically well. And he is here in the studio with us to talk us through a great deal of issues of linguistic interest. Well, we have nowadays discovered that no matter your profession, you need the English language to be able to fit in everywhere you find yourself globally. But the challenge is that the Arabic students here in this part of the world who are learning English find it pretty difficult, and they feel like the language, that means English, is not meant for them. So why? What tips does Malam Ƙarib have for them? Well, Mr. Ƙaribullah Yusuf Nasidi joins me now in the studio. Thank you very much indeed for being on the show.
Really, I feel euphoric to be on this show, which is a very prominent show that I've been listening and watching it most of the time. It's one of the programs that absolutely it is trending here and there all over the globe, of which also people are relishing the program as well.
That's really fantastically okay, and I feel, well, you sound worthy, of course, and that's one interesting thing about you. Let me also copy you. I feel ecstatically delighted to have you on the show, because we're going to be talking about a lot of interesting stuff on this show. So how happy are you to be here?
Actually, I'm very much elated to have myself on this studio, of which is being anchored. The program is being anchored by Umar Isa Dandago. Umar Isa Dandago is a very renowned person, not only in Kano, in most of the places here in the globe, because he all the time presents an interesting program.
So you're looking me in the eye, talking to me about Umar Isa Dandago, somebody that bears the same name as I am, right? So
Umar Isa Dandago is unique per se. Do you understand? Because his uniqueness depicts his intellectuals and also capability of put in place the thing that will help the society in terms of politics and other things concerning the social aspects of life.
That's great. We're going to be talking. Thank you very much indeed for these great comments on Umar Isa Dandago, and I hope his girlfriend is currently watching so that she will be smiling, and thank you for that. So let's get the ball rolling. To begin with this very first question, why do we have to learn the English language? Is it necessary?
Well, definitely, if you say English language is a language spoken all over the globe, not only here in Nigeria. First of all, we know that English language, is a language that has been spoken by most of the people, especially we, non-native speakers. Being one of the countries that was colonized, we found that our language has become a second language, an official language in Nigeria. So inevitably we have to make sure that we speak English. So I can say that it's very compulsory. Is very, very compelling and very, scintillating for a person to know how to speak English, because there are so many things that, this language is, tallying with and going hand in hand with most of the time. So not only in terms of education, in terms of social aspects of life, be it politics, economy, and other things.
So are you saying now that if I were a businessman, and then my friend was also a businessman, but I cannot speak English, he can, So are you saying that he is going to do much better? He's going to outdo me in terms of doing business with other people?
Really, of course, because that guy is not only doing business for the sake of his people within his locality, but he's doing the business for the sake of the whole people in the globe. Because this is what all the time draws my attention, as I've been saying and telling most of my students. Sometimes our businessmen here in Nigeria, particularly in Kano, they think that if we only do our business for our local people, they think the business is not really successful. But try to think deeply in advance to make sure that you invite or you use something that will help you to communicate with other people in the outer world.
Oh, that's great.
That's the importance of speaking this language.
But here in Kano, the majority of the people living in the state do not speak or understand the English language. Does that make it necessary for our local businessmen and women to learn English language?
Well, we can't say it's really necessary, but it's very useful for a person that interacts with different people, because believe you me that we normally receive some strangers from abroad coming to patronize our goods, but unfortunately, if for example we are selling some goods and probably some people from abroad coming to our shops and patronizing our goods, definitely is going to be a very big slap on our faces. And it is not a matter of employing the services of others to come and interpret for you, because you will spend lots of money. That kind of interpreter that you will employ service. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you are able and capable to communicate well with other people, you are to save your money for other purposes.
Yeah, of course, that's true.
But if you do not understand it, you have to employ the service of other people so that you pay them. Can you see one of the negative impact of lacking the ability of speaking the language?
So now what's your message? Look at the camera and talk to the people, your viewers, your watchers, especially those who are into businesses, different types of business. What messages do you have for them as a motivation to stand up and learn English language?
Honestly speaking, when as a businessman who aspires to boost or set up a business, so he has to think deeply in different angles to make sure that he employs something or he puts on something that will help him a little bit to actualize his business dream. So in this regard, I egg on most of our businessmen here in Nigeria, particularly in Kano, to make sure that they speak the language, because we normally receive different people from abroad coming to our Kano state, because it's termed as commercial city
of course,
for business.
Wow, that's great. So English language, because of this globalization and because of this inter-country and intercontinental trade and business, that's what makes it necessary or important, or to use your word, very useful for them to speak English.
Of course.
That's great. So let's move on to another issue that is very, very important. It's also necessary and crucial here. You personally, as I said in my introduction, can speak not just your mother tongue, your mother language, your first language, Hausa, but you can also speak Arabic. And I believe in your first degree at ABU, back then, many years ago when I was in primary school, you studied English language and Arabic at the same time. Is that true?
Yeah, really, of course.
Okay, now let's talk about this, which means you are an Arabic student at the same time, an English student. Talk to us about Arabic language and English language, respectively.
Honestly speaking, Arabic language, as you know, is the descendant language of which, is the language of which is called, classical language. When we say classical language, is the language of Holy Quran, of which the Quran talks to the people. All right, and being that a language being spoken by Arab countries, and our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the language that he speaks, all right, and spoke, in the in the past, And that's why even we Muslims, we relish to speak the language all the time for the sake of understanding our religious activities and religious rights.
Sure, of course.
And also the importance of learning these two languages, both Arabic and English, it can't be overemphasized because we know before the advent of colonial masters in our land here in Nigeria, most of those Arab people were the first to come to our land, and we interacted with lots of people, and they had some bases in so many places. Like we have a quarter here in Kano, in the ancient city Kulkul. Kulkul is an Arabic word, which is derived from the word kul, meaning say. So for the sake of interaction, the people transacted with Arab people. So because they were not able to speak their language, then the Arab man would say Kul means say. Kul. That's where the quota came into being.
And that quota, that area was filled at that time with a lot of Arabs.
Look at al-funduk. Al-funduk is an Arabic word. Al-pundiki.
Okay, al-fundiki now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
it's in the city.
In the city. It is the hotel that had its base within the ancient city. Because most of the Arab people, the same that English people, when they came to Nigeria, they tried to make sure that their language to be an official language to be used officially in the country. So they are very significant and they're very important for a person to know, to learn them.
So now you are creating a kind of connection between the Arab people, the Arabs, and the Hausa people. Of course, when they came here for business purposes and some of them for religious purposes to spread the religion of Islam at that time, they got mixed with us and we got to interact and learn their language at that time.
That what brought about its importance.
And that's why we have more Arabic speakers in Kano than English speakers.
Exactly. Despite the fact now we have lots of English speakers like you.
Oh, like you. No, we just learn it.
You don't speak with mesmeric.
Oh, that's great.
Really.
And maybe I forgot to mention to our team viewers out there that you are my teacher, of course, and I am really proud of you and for the coaching and the mentorship that we received from you. Thank you very much once again.
A pleasure.
Let's move on. Is it necessary for Arabic students to learn English? Now, Arabic, as you have described it, is one of the biggest languages in the world. And to us, the Muslims, Arabic is more important than any other language, of course, because it is the language of Quran, is the language of the Prophet ﷺ, and of course, it is the language of the people of paradise. Now, not religiously speaking, is it okay for Arabic students now to say, hey, we're done, we're not going to learn English, Arabic is okay for us? What can you say about this?
Honestly speaking, it's very compelling. It's very mandatory upon a student of Arabic. That's why most of the students today, especially those who learn Arabic, they find it pretty difficult to speak the language. Why? Because some of them have the idea of ignoring, or rather discarding the issue of speaking the language, because now in our universities, in our schools today, that whether you like it or not, you must speak English. So English language today is compulsory for an Arabic student, because there are some situations whereby if you have graduated from the school, definitely you must work with different people. But if you're unable to speak the language, well, definitely you may face some challenges here and there, of which that will give you a kind of problems. So it's very compelling. It's compulsory nowadays. Even if you speak Hausa now, you need English language, because we have any option except to speak the language.
Of course.
The language of the globe. Exactly.
Okay, let's now deal with this issue. Please help me understand this one. Why is it that most of the Arabic students are complaining that the English language is so hard on them, is so difficult on them? You can speak Arabic very well. You can also speak English language very well. How did you do that personally? How did you do that when you were learning?
Honestly speaking, if my memory serves me well, there were times that I was at school, and probably one of my friends, or rather one of my areas, told me that you should not learn Arabic because it's very difficult. And probably if you learn it, studying it at school, you may not succeed.
Wow.
But that's
the mentality of all
me.
people.
Exactly.
That when you study Arabic language, you're not going to succeed in the world. It means you're not going to get a good job, get a good car, have money to get married.
Really, of course. But not only that, that, idea motivated me, galvanized me, gingered me in order to swing into action.
You didn't take his advice?
Really, of course. I removed one of the courses there, of which I, found myself in Arabic class, of which I could remember.
So you did this and drop.
Really,
you added a course and you dropped another one.
Of course, I dropped another one
and you added Arabic.
Wow, for that challenge, in order to tell the world that if, for example, you say you can't do something, it is something which we call like a deadlock.
Wow.
You have to be willing to do. You are successful. Okay. But if you are unable to do, you are like a deadlock. Wow. You can't move from here to there. So as a result, I found myself in an Arabic class, of which I could remember our lecturer, when he came into the class, he started asking me to express myself, of which I could not speak even I could not speak Arabic, a minute or 2 minutes per se.
Really?
But
was that in level 1, 2, or 3?
Really, when I was, at CAS.
Okay, that was
really
CAS.
That was in the past.
Yeah.
So in that, in that regard, I was able to speak. I used my ideas in English.
Yeah.
And also some rudiment aspects of Arabic learning that I had, acquired from my renowned scholars here in Kano. And that kind of, facial impressions I recognized, I witnessed, or I saw from his face, really encouraged me much. And absolutely, I started talking. Whether I spoke correctly or not, but most of the people
didn't care.
Really, but most of my colleagues, classmates, burst into laughter.
Wow.
The more they laughed, the more I,
you got encouraged.
Really got encouraged by that moment. That's the reason behind. Then later, I started watching some interesting, films of Arabic films and some, little books written in Arabic language.
So that helped you personally?
Really, personally.
That's great.
To continue and started interacting with Arab people as well.
Oh, really? You had an opportunity to talk to Arabs?
Really, of course.
So how did you find your communication with the Arabs? Was it difficult, or has it been difficult for you to do that?
Because I felt that I could do. That's why I didn't find it, quite difficult.
Oh, that's great.
I found it very pretty simple, very enthralling, I say, and very, jaw-dropping.
Yeah, of course. To be honest with you, it has to be exhilarating.
Oh, really? Very,
and exciting as well.
Very euphoric.
Wow, that's great.
That I found myself.
Oh, I'm really interested in this part of your story. And now let me ask you this question briefly. Hit it, and then we move on. Did you learn English first before learning Arabic?
Really, of course.
Okay, which one is more difficult than the other?
Well, definitely English, since, my primary, I had never got English as difficult as I got from Arabic. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because English as simple as my favorite subject is English language. Despite the fact I liked Arabic, I liked to speak Arabic all the time. Do you understand?
Yes.
And at that moment, since when I was, at primary, I made sure that English language was very simple because I acquired, lots of dictionaries, lots of books concerning Arabic, and I met, great orators, great speakers here in Kano and other. Scholars.
Yeah, of course.
And despite the fact we peripatetically moved here and there to make sure that we interacted with different personalities speaking English.
That's great.
That's why this motivated me. Before British Council vacated on every Wednesday, we would all the time go there and deliver a paper, interacted with British people.
Wow, that's
exactly, of which I ever delivered a paper before the British people at that moment.
And
I ever commented, really, they were highly impressive about that. This is one of the rationale behind this.
So a student of English should go from one place to another wherever he thinks or she thinks English language is spoken. That's really important. Attending public places, public fora like that of British Council, and it's the like. We also have got one at Dandago Primary School, the Progressive Learners Association. You also presented there a couple of years ago.
Part and parcel, and bona fide member of the program.
That's really important. So can you help us? Like me, I'm a student of mass communication at BUK, and I believe that Arabic language, not only Arabic language, languages are really part and parcel of our job. Our business needs somebody to understand a little bit about many languages. Now, between the English language and the Arabic language, not this one, let me rephrase the question. Okay, what are the similarities and differences between the English language and Arabic language?
Oh, really? Briefly. There are some similarities and differences. Arabic language, as I've told you, is a language that is written from right hand, while English is from left.
So Arabic is from right to left,
really,
and then English from left to right.
Right. Do you get the point? One of the differences. And also, Arabic language has 28 letters, of which English has 26 letters. Do you understand? But in terms of
how many letters does Arabic have?
28 letters, while our English has 26 letters. If you remove, the vowel sound out of them, it will be 21 letters we've got in English. But in this regard, there are some important things we have to take note of. As we know, Arabic language, the way the similarities are, in Arabic language, do you understand? In terms of pronouns first, when we talk of grammar, Arabic language has dual, pronouns, of which in English doesn't.
What does that mean?
For example, if we say anta, which means you.
Oh, yes.
But antuma, it means you, but two of you, both of you. So that dualization, a pronoun. But in English doesn't have you. It's for plural, you for singular, and you for female, you for. But do you understand?
So what is the equivalent version of you in Arabic for a female?
For a female, anti, with the kasra.
Okay.
Well, anta is a male gender, but female gender is anti. All right. That's why this what makes some of the differences between Arabic. And also, Arabic language, doesn't use infinitive verbs and also verbs to be.
What does that mean?
For example, we know in English language we have infinitive verbs like to go, to drink. But in Arabic language, for example, تشربت بمقابلتك, for example.
What does that mean?
It means I'm pleased to meet you.
Come on, I should have been the one to say this when I started the program.
In this regard,
can you repeat it again so that I can mention
exactly. تشربت بمقابلتك.
Okay, let's assume you didn't say it.
Exactly.
Let's assume we are beginning the show.
Really?
So let me say, Mr. Ƙaribullah, تشرفت بمقابلتك.
وأنا كذلك.
Oh, mashallah.
جزيلا.
So how's my pronunciation?
Oh, really? It's quite awesome.
Oh, mashallah.
Quite mellifluous.
Oh, wow, thank you. I like this word. I like this
very
word.
mellifluous.
Yeah, I've never heard it before.
Exactly.
I like
very
it.
jaw-dropping.
Wow, that's
This
great.
is quite, compelling, quite enthralling.
Wow.
So, and also, exactly. And, believe you me that, in Arabic language, the reason why the similarities and differences are, sometimes if you look at the pronunciation too, in Arabic language, we have, fa'un.
Okay.
Do you get the point?
Yes.
But in English, we have of which we lack them in Arabic.
So
that's why in Arab, Arabic speakers tend to, convert to b.
Wow.
While v to f. Do you understand?
As in
Exactly.
computer.
Exactly. Computer. Instead of computer.
Oh.
But computer. All right.
wow.
So that's why, because we don't have these p and v in Arabic, and also Arabic doesn't have capitalizations as we have in English language.
yes, of course.
For example, Umar Isa Indigo. Look at the word Umar.
Yeah.
It starts with the capital U.
Yeah.
Do you
English,
understand?
Yeah.
That's why. But in terms of pronunciation, sometimes there are similarities. There are some elisions. All right.
What does that mean? Elision.
There are some silent letters we normally have
in English. Or
in English. DASIGN.
So,
but that G is elided.
Oh, is silent.
Is silent. All right. We do not pronounce it. But in Arabic, you cannot get such kind of this kind of elision.
So all the letters
like,
in
for
Arabic
example,
can be pronounced?
Exactly, can be like, for example, ضرب.
ضرب.
أيوة ضرب. فاء الكلمة عين الكلمة لام الكلمة. Because most of the time, Arabic word starts from these three roots of a word.
Okay.
That's فاء الكلمة, عين الكلمة, and the لام الكلمة.
Oh, mashallah.
Do you understand?
Is this
فعل.
Okay.
This is one of the forms of Arabic words that we
so
normally
this is what
have.
we call li'rabi or
No. It's the base, it's the formation of a word. Like we have
in
really
the
in
English language.
Like for example, we have WAR, which is war.
Oh, woo, yeah.
And also R, if we can, back,
Okay.
change it simultaneously, upside down,
yeah.
like RAW, raw.
Oh, really?
Do you understand?
That's
in
great.
English, we have these kind of, things. So, but
in English, in Arabic, we cannot do that.
Exactly.
The change of position.
Really,
of the letters?
in Arabic, there are some certain places where you can, but most of the time it can't be done this way. Do you understand?
Yeah, of course.
In most of the cases.
So briefly, we got like 3 minutes to go. Globally speaking, how important is it for the Arab countries, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, the UAE, among others, and even Egypt here in North Africa? How important is it for those countries to give the English language a priority in their schools and colleges and universities?
Definitely is of great importance, is of great vital. And most of the schools, as we normally receive some of the foreigners here in Nigeria, they came to Nigeria with the purpose of learning English language. Why? Because why they chose in Nigeria, particularly Kano? Because they find it pretty difficult sometimes when it comes. So those countries, it's very important for them to incorporate this kind of language to make sure that it's taught there for the purpose of social interaction, because you may not likely to live in or to stay indoors. You need to gallivant from one place to another. You need to move from one place to another to interact with different people. As we know, language is a channel of communication of which will link you up with other people of the globe
from different
But
places.
if you are saying that you only cleave to one language, definitely you'll be lagged behind. That's one of the rational behind. So it's very important for them to incorporate English language to be a language that can be used and spoken.
Second to last question. How did you learn this mesmerizingly attention-grabbing English with this mellifluous near British accent? Have you ever been to Birmingham City or Liverpool?
No. I have never been to. Definitely.
A lot of people have been asking me when they hear your speech.
One of the reasons why, as I've often said, that most of the time when you are learning a language, there are some processes that you can at least adhere to make sure that you learn the language.
So
first of all, you are to listen, watch, like you are to what. The reason why I got motivated, I often watch interesting hot talk anchored by Stephen Saka,
on the BBC
sometimes Stephen
Zainab
Badawi and Tom Sebastian, Sarah Montague. In terms of Arabic, the same thing. Like the movie, the film I watched, like Sihr al-Hub, because they use what is Sihr al-Hub, meaning the secret of love. Do you understand?
I like this.
So in this regard, the film was translated in what is called MAS, MSA.
What does that mean?
Modern Standard Arabic.
Wow.
Really? They use the Modern Standard Arabic.
So which means if you understand
not dialectical Arabic.
Oh.
You know, most of the time if you hear some, Arab countries, they speak a dialectical, like qalbi, that's MAMSA.
Okay.
But in some parts of the Arab country, they say albi. Or rather, some say ghalbi. Do you understand? They change the dialect, the pronunciation and also the dialect. Muayya, which means water, instead of, ma. Really, of course. So this is one of the reasons. So if you listen, watch, and read, especially newspaper, painstakingly, meticulously, you will really achieve your academic process, and academic progress is excellent.
Well, to be honest with you, تشرفت بمقابلتك.
وأنا كذلك. وأنا كذلك. شكرا.
Final word in Arabic to both English and Arabic students as a motivation. What do you have to tell them in 10 seconds?
يسرني أن ألقي بعض المشورات لطلاب العربية الذين يحاولون أن يتحدثون بهذه اللغة المنزلة لهذه الأمة وأمة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يتحدثوا بها بطلاقة. وأيضا أريد أن أناشدهم لكي يتحدثوا بالإنجليزية كذلك، لأن الإنجليزية سهلة جدا ولا نريد أن نتورع عنها، وهي أيضا أهم، وهي هامة جدا، ونريد أن نبرز غاية جهدنا لكي نرى أن نتحدث بالعربية والإنجليزية بالطلاقة.
ما شاء الله.
In this regard, I'd like to egg on most of our Arabic students, as well as the people not only here in Kano and other places of the globe, to make sure that they speak both Arabic language and English as well. And they really help in terms of our social interaction. That's all.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Ƙaribullah Yusuf Nasidi, for everything that you have done on this program. And you've also motivated me, because to be honest with you, when I prepare to get married, when I get a girlfriend, I will try to get someone that can speak Arabic, so that we can do a lot of practice together, and that will really help improve my Arabic standard.
Exactly.
That's good. So
and another thing is that pronunciation is very significant.
Yeah, of course.
That's why, if I could remember, there was a scholar, Barnett Shaw. He had a kind of, a symbol of which he tried to make sure that he gave the importance of, pronunciation. He came up with an idea of GHOTI. Have you got that?
No.
Means fish.
Oh, really?
Really, of course. GHOTI means fish.
Is it mathematics?
No, it's not mathematics, but it's an idea. For example, if you take G and H, sometimes it's pronounced sound, as in enough.
Oh, yeah.
While if you take O, as in women, not women, but rather women in plural.
I understand.
All right, but if you take TI, means like a nation.
Oh,
do you understand? That's why if you turn them, you will get fish.
So there's mathematics in English.
Mathematical aspects of it.
Thank you.
That's what the Barnett Shaw came with this kind of idea. He did a lot of pronunciation, but I urge people to go and read about his works.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hosting you again, inshallah, very soon. It's been amazing having you here.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy, and also I've got a kind of privilege to be here on the show, and I believe that this program will definitely advance, not only here in all of the globe, and I believe that the workers here, they are the pilots of the program, of course. And I pray that they will be motivated and be having a successful service, of course. Not only in Whiteblood Panorama, but in other places of the globe.
Gwani Abbas is smilingly looking at you.
Definitely,
and I'm sure he's saying Amin in his mind. Mashallah, that's great. Gwani Abbas is our memorizer of the Holy Quran.
Thank you very much.
And that's great. I relish to
emulate him.
Oh, that's great, mashallah. So that's the end of our show. Not because we have exhausted every single question that we have planned to put for Malam Ƙaribullah Yusuf Nasidi, but we really have to stop here because of time. On behalf of everyone that has contributed, and Malam Ƙarib that has come on the show, and on behalf of the big boss Zainab Abdurrahman, may I go, I'm Umar Isa Dandugo saying Once again, goodbye and see you next week.